Part 28. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 276. At the end of the song, the host's soul source staggered into Zhao's window. Mother Zhao was kneeling on the ground with a rolling pin. I also admire vanity for taking money to buy clothes. You are really good and not bad. I should have strangled you. Mother Zhao was most worried about it, probably because Zhao Xiaomei wasn't dealt with earlier, so every time you hit Zhao Xiaomei, the mantra would come out. Zhao Xiaomei was naked, and now her mouth has not been entangled with tape. Although it hurts, she didn't dare cry or even explain. Just after she explained it, she was scolded by her mother Zhao to learn to lie back and cut her mouth with scissors. Zhao Xiaomei knew that Zhao's mother would really poke her mouth with scissors, so she didn't dare to bark. Yanj tried to bump into the body of Zhao Xiaomei with soul source, but he couldn't hit it. She tried to bump into Zhao's body again, but still couldn't. The soul source is too weak, the chicks observed for a while and said, if their soul source is unstable, you may be able to drill in, but now they are fine, you cannot enter. So, if she wants to enter Zhao Xiaomei's body, she has to wait until Zhao Xiaomei is about to die. But how long the wait should be, Yanj felt that he couldn't watch the little girl continue to be beaten by Zhao's mother. She couldn't stay there all the time, even if she didn't want to, she could only go back to the host's grandfather Mao and continue to practice for another week. When she arrived at Zhao's house again, Zhao Xiaomei was dying in the corner of the balcony. Really dying. Zhao's mother was still beating Zhao Xiaomei, and she screamed and yelled, pretending to be Zhao Xiaomei to death, screaming to make Zhao Xiaomei confess. But Zhao Xiaomei was dying now, not even opening her eyelids, let alone speaking. Yan Ji didn't hesitate, she rammed into Zhao Xiaomei's body for the first time. Zhao Xiaomei's soul source is not only unstable, but also faces a tendency to extinguish at this moment. The word song collision is like breaking the enchantment, and easily enters Zhao Xiaomei's body. After entering Zhao Xiaomei's body, Yan Ji's spiritual power was released instantly, wrapping Zhao Xiaomei's dying soul source, and then controlling the body. After taking control of the body, the first feeling is pain, and there is no pain inside or outside. However, Yan Ji's tolerance for pain is relatively strong. After taking control of her body, she did not confront her mother, but continued to die, but in fact, she was practicing. Zhao Xiaomei's soul consciousness was wrapped in words, even if she knew something strange, but she did not resist the struggle, but closed her eyes completely and fell asleep. When Yanj was sober again, Qin Yun was shaking her. Xiaomei, Xiaomei, you wake up, what's wrong with you? Uncle Zhao, come and see, Xiaomei, she has to go to the hospital. After Zhao Yun was shouted by Qin Yun, he impatiently called, which hospital to go to, I haven't prepared the meal yet. Qin Yun's panic and helplessness became a fear that chilled her back because of this roar of Father Zhao. Zhao Xiaomei was injured like this. It must have been Zhao's father. When she wanted to send Zhao Xiaomei to the hospital, she could not ask for Zhao's father. She had to go to her parents or the police uncle. Qin Yun was very scared. She didn't dare to stay. She quickly ran out of Zhao's house to find her grandmother, and asked her to take Zhao Xiaomei to the hospital. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 277. While cooking, Grandma Qin pushed away the hand of Qin Yun and said, whatever happened to someone else's house, care about what she did. If Xiaomei didn't do anything wrong, how could his parents hit her, his own parents? It's normal. It's impossible to be killed. Don't make a fuss. Qin Yun cried out of breath, Xiaomei was dying, why didn't Grandma believe her? There was no phone at home, and Grandma's cell phone was not used by her. She simply ran out of her home, met a pedestrian on the road, begged someone to call the police, and called 120 more. Police and hospital first aid quickly entered the community. Yan Ji guessed that it was the police of Qinyun newspaper. When she was carried on a stretcher by her nurse, Father Zhao was still scolding and blocking the nurses and doctors, saying that this was his home, this was his daughter, how he wanted to fight no matter how you fight, I can't control Tianwang. However, there was a police town, and Father Zhao could not turn the sky. The body is very painful, but what makes Yan Ji worry more is Zhao Xiaomei. Zhao Xiaomei's soul consciousness is like running away, she has been lethargic all the time and has no meaning to wake up. However, after confirming that Zhao Xiaomei's soul consciousness would not be a problem, nowadays it is just because the trauma is too heavy that he wants to avoid the outside world subconsciously. As long as Zhao Xiaomei's soul source will not disperse, Yanj will rest assured. It's drowsy, after all, Zhao Xiaomei's situation now is better than Zhao Xiaomei's. Since Jin Yun reported to the police, Yan Ji was taken to the hospital this way. I don't know how many people sighed in her ears, how did this happen, or this parent is too human. The woman doctor who examined the wound for Yanj secretly cried. Yanj seems to be unconscious, but the mental power can feel the condition of the outside world. Because her host this time is a grandfather who can practice, so she can practice this time, even if she is in Zhao Xiaomei's body now, she can cultivate her own mental power without hindrance. Therefore, she simply ignored the external conditions, but has been immersed in cultivation. During Zhao Xiaomei's coma period, the news that she was beaten by her parents was nowhere intact became a hot search. Many people who do know will come to the hospital to see her, and provide her with an account for fundraising. The money collected in the fund goes up every day. Even the hospital announced that it would not charge her for surgery. After the medical report came out, I didn't know who was posted on the internet, so it became a hot search. Everyone did not expect that there was such a cruel mother. They have left messages, hoping to allow Zhao's mother to be sentenced, even if she could not be sentenced to death. Let her spend her whole life in prison. Yanj sleepy for more than a month, still when she found Zhao Xiaomei's consciousness, as if to take over the body, first occupy the body's sovereignty. As soon as she was awake, doctors and nurses rushed in to help her look at her body, and made sure that it was not a big deal, so that a gentle policewoman came to talk to Yanj. I was probably afraid that Zhao Xiaomei had a psychological shadow, so the policewoman was wearing plain clothes, and she talked with Yanj about learning about things. After laying the groundwork, she began to ask about the injuries of Yanj. It was my mother, Yan Ji said in a weak voice on the bed. My mother said I was a scourge. She said that if she gave birth to me, she would choke me to death. This plane reads out 1,000, it is equivalent to 1,000 people not chasing this plane, chubby crying in the toilet. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 278. Yanj raised his eyes and looked at the policewoman in front of her. My mother has had a hard time. My grandma doesn't like her. My dad said she was not a woman and that she would not have a son. It was useless. My dad hit me when he was drunk. Mom, divorce my mom. By this time, she was still talking for her mother, and the policewoman's throat was stunned, but she was strong and immediately asked, then your father hit you? My dad. Yan Ji paused, his eyes flashing. The policewoman felt different, and her voice softened with a little snoring. What? Did your father hit you? Yan Ji nodded, but immediately shook her head again. She whispered, my dad hit me before, but then he stopped hitting me. He asked me to give him a son and heir to him. He said that as long as I had a son, he would let my mother stop beating me again. But my mother was unhappy because of this. My mother always said that I seduced my dad and said that I was a bitch. Auntie, can you please tell my mother, I didn't seduce my dad, I hurt, every time my dad pressed on me, I could hurt, and my mother hurt when I hit me. What? Although the policewoman did not use a pen to record, Yan Ji thought that this passage should be transcribed. In the follow-up, several waves came to visit Yanj. There are women's federations and police. These people will ask about Yanj's very specific things, such as why Zhao's mother hit her, how she hit her, such as Zhao's father, how she pressed it on her, how many times it was pressed, when it was. Rounds of cross-examinations, and rounds of inspections. When Yanj was overcast by two experts again, Yanj lay on the bed and asked them, "Am I pregnant?" Before waiting for the experts to respond, she begged and said, "My stomach has been sore recently, and I always live in the hospital. Do I have to have a son for my dad? If I have a baby, can I choke him to death? He will always hit him like my mother." Behind the two experts, there are nurses handing tools, and several women are taking notes. Everyone heard tears like tears. There is a joint lawyer, who wants to serve Yanj for free, and wants to help Yanj send Zhao's mother and his mother to prison. But lawyers, they also need to know the details, so they have to ask from Yanj. Yan Ji can't remember how many people have asked her. Each of these people is kind and wants to help Zhao Xiaomei, and wants to get justice for Zhao Xiaomei. However, every time a narrative is made, the wound is torn open again and again. Can Zhao Xiaomei, a child as young as she, bear it? The Women's Federation also arranged a psychologist for Yanj. They probably feel that Yanj's body is slowly improving, so their psychology is also slowly improving. Both Mother Zhao and Father Zhao were arrested. But the final trial was not satisfactory. Mother Zhao was the perpetrator, but she was also a victim in some way. After all, she was always violent by her father. Her lawyer felt that she had a mental illness because it was depression that would treat Zhao Xiaomei. Moreover, she is Zhao Xiaomei's guardian. Zhao Xiaomei is still young and her grandparents have died. What if Zhao's parents both go to prison? This case was tried several times, and Zhao's father even appealed once, but the final verdict came down, and his father was sentenced to 5 years this time. Zhao's mother was not sentenced this time because she did not commit manslaughter, and because Zhao Xiaomei still needed her care. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 279. Zhao Xiaomei returned to her mother's side, and it was Zhao mother who fought hard. She vowed to write a guarantee. She even shouted madly that she had been such a daughter in her life, and whoever took her daughter away would be killing her. Guardianship is not easy to take away, let alone Zhao's mother. Everyone thinks that without the incentive of Zhao's father, Zhao's mother will definitely treat Zhao Xiaomei. After all, there are so many pairs of eyes staring at Zhao's mother, even if it is because of public supervision, she certainly does not dare to mess up. After staying in the hospital for 2 months, Yanj was sent to the orphanage. After staying in the orphanage for 3 months, the matter of the Zhao family ended, and she was also taken home by Zhao's mother. The money donated to Zhao Xiaomei by people in the society was on a card. The card was handed over to Yanj by the police. "Too much money, you are still a student, you can't use that much a month, so the card is a secondary card, and the main card is still in the bank. This card will give you 1,000 yuan every month. After you reach adulthood, you can go to the bank to process the main card yourself." I have to say that these people thought enough for Zhao Xiaomei. These people are helpless when they return Zhao Xiaomei to his mother. After all, there are too few examples of legal deprivation of custody right now, such as Zhao's mother, who can't be forced to deprive them at all. Xiao Yan brought Yanj back home. Mother Zhao also bought pork ribs on the way home, and told the meat vendor that her daughter was too thin after she was discharged from the hospital and wanted to supplement her daughter's body. The vendor asked Ms. Zhao politely, "Why is the child hospitalized? Is it because of the recent flu? It's a bit cold in my family." "No, Mother Zhao said lightly, it was my daughter who said that her dad had raped her. Her dad was in prison, and she was discharged." She finished speaking, and despite the street vendor's astonished gaze, she had already pulled Yan Ji toward the house. If Zhao Xiaomei was taking over the body at this moment, she would be embarrassed to hear the words and would be anxious to drill into the hole. But in this body, now it is Yanj. She glanced at Mother Zhao but did not speak. After entering the community, you will meet acquaintances and be greeted. When Mother Zhao talked to these people, she looked a little bit uncomfortable and a little unnatural. When asked by these neighbors to be nice to Zhao Xiao, she nodded and promised, "I was confused before, and now I figured it out. I will such a daughter, I am not good to her, who is good to her?" The crowd also agreed, "Just figure it out, you blame Zhao's father for something that is not as good as a bird/beast, and you are a poor person." When he got home, as soon as the door was closed, Zhao's mother let go of Yanj's hand and carried the spare ribs she bought to the kitchen. There was nothing to say about Yanj. Yanj went to the balcony. Zhao Xiaomei's balcony nest is no different than before. She simply lay on Zhao Xiaomei's wooden bed, closed her eyes, and nourished the body with her aura of cultivation. Zhao Xiaomei had many and many scars on her body, left by scissors, left by scalding after being boiled in water, and beaten by stabbings. After so long, many injuries are still there, especially those burns, which look very ugly. Her face was slightly repaired by doctors for skin grafting, but many of her scars were still there. There is almost no aura in this plane. Yanj has practiced for such a small period of 6 months, and there is only so little in his body. It is estimated that after nourishing this body, there will be no Reiki left. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 280. Mother Zhao did not close the kitchen door, so the kitchen was noisy. It was the sound of Mother Zhao cooking, and occasionally there was a sound of chopping on the chopping board. The words are completely ignored. It didn't take long for Mother Zhao's food to be ready. She gave Yanj a bowl and herself a bowl. Standing on the table, shouting song, done. Her voice was cold, without the slightest weakness when she spoke in front of people. Yanj got up and sat over. Every time the host eats, they take their own dishes and eat on the balcony. But obviously, Yanj didn't want this. She sat at the table, silently picked up chopsticks, and put a rib on her mouth. Mother Zhao glared at her for a few moments, but did not play as usual. Ribs are salty and bitter. Yanj spit on the table after biting. Mother Zhao bowed her head and ate slowly. So the bowl she ate was added by Zhao's mother. Yanj said nothing. She poured her whole bowl of ribs on the table, and took the bowl to the kitchen. There are spare ribs in the kitchen pan. Mother Zhao did not expect Yanj to be so bold. Before Yan Ji took a few steps, Zhao's mother stretched her shoulders. "How can you drain good ribs? Your dad is in jail, don't you know? Do you think there is a lot of money at home? I want to make a rib for you, and you want to drain it. Do you think the money is easy, pork ribs? Is it easy to come?" A needle suddenly appeared in her hand, and she poked it at Yan Ji's shoulder. After she said those words, she stared blankly at the song and lowered her voice. She said in disgust, "You are a scourge, you are the victim of our family's restlessness, and even your dad was sent to the prison. You are a scourge. Why do not you go to hell?" She was probably afraid that others would hear it, and her voice was low, and only a pair of eyes staring at Yanj looked like poisonous snakes, and the venom and aversion in her eyes were not concealed at all. Yanj raised her hand when her pinching hand was about to hit her shoulder and grabbed her wrist. "I'm your mother. I gave birth to you to support you. I didn't let you harm me. Before the mother Zhao said this, Yan Ji had pulled the needle from her finger, and in Zhao mother's astonished eyes, she held the needle and pierced Zhao mother's thigh. One click after another. Fast and ruthless. Every stitch was almost lost in Zhao's thigh. Zhao mother screamed in pain. In the past, Zhao mother often used a needle to pierce Zhao Xiaomei. Counting this is the first time that Zhao mother has experienced the pain of being stuck with a needle. She stretched out her hand and chanted, "Bitch, you are brave." Yanj is not just Zhao Xiaomei who was beaten. She turned away from Mother Zhao's hand and raised her foot on Zhao's leg. Mother Zhao had been beaten by her father before, but now she was beaten by her own daughter. How could she be willing, so struggling to stand up and sing, "Dying you, dare to hit your mother, do you think your dad was cowed when he was put in jail? You are a bitch. Because you are all done at home, the old lady should strangle you to death." Yanj was much faster than her. She picked up the chair and smashed it on Zhao's mother. She had no energy in her hands. Therefore, Zhao's mother completely fell to the ground. Yanj took a chair and smashed Zhao mother a few times. In the voice of Zhao mother crying, she went into the kitchen and reboiled a bowl of spare ribs. She took the kitchen knife in her hand. She was sitting at the table, eating with a kitchen knife in one hand and chopsticks in the other. She didn't say half a word from start to finish. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 281. Mother Zhao wanted to pounce on the song, but she was afraid of the knife on the singer. So I just started crying, "Why do I suffer so hard, me, how do I suffer so hard, I have lived a good life since I gave birth to you, how could I be like this without you, and how would your father look down on me, how can you woo me like this?" Mother Zhao cried until she finally opened the door and sat crying in the doorway, while still talking about how she was hit by her mother-in-law in the confinement of her hair because she couldn't have a son, and how she was beaten by her father. Yanj had no intention of bothering. He finished the meal very sharply, then went to the kitchen and dumped the remaining ribs into the trash. In the effort of this meeting, many people have been surrounded by the door. After all, it was on the first floor, and Zhao Mother Wolf was crying and ghosting, no one came to see it. "Zhao Ye, what's the matter with you? Why are you crying here? The ground is cold and you hurry up and say something." "My daughter hit me." Mother Zhao really didn't cry. She thought of her miserable life after giving birth to her daughter, and she was heartbroken. Just be beaten by her mother-in-law and her husband. She is still being beaten by her daughter. Mother Zhao is crying, sad and out of breath. As soon as she said this, everyone looked at each other. Who believes this? Zhao Xiaomei was hurt by her mother. Zhao Xiaomei is so small. If she can really beat Zhao mother, can she be sent to the hospital? At the same time, when everyone didn't believe it, there was some thought in looking at Zhao's mother. I don't know who sneered and said, "Small child like Xiaomei, if she can hit you, she can stay in the hospital for so long. Isn't it a dream for you to be accustomed to your family's mouth? Do you think others will hit you? Oh, look at Xiaomei's child, isn't it because she was beaten again by the pussy?" Everyone was reminded by these words and immediately walked into the room. So many people swarmed into the room at once, and Mother Zhao, who was sitting at the door, was also accidentally stepped on the legs and feet by several people. Heartbroken Zhao mother. Yanj was brushing the bowl in the kitchen, and she saw her eyes widened in surprise when everyone walked to the kitchen door to see her. Look at the little girl's timid look, it makes people feel sorry. An old lady asked, "Did your mother hit you again?" Yanj bit his lip, like a child questioned and doing something wrong, standing helplessly, rubbing his horns. The crowd looked even more uncomfortable. "Don't be afraid, Tell your grandma, did your mother hit you again? Mother Zhao had rushed in crazy, while taking off her clothes and pants. It was she who hit me, she hit me with a chair, poked me with a needle, and I did not move her finger. Yan Ji timidly glanced at Mother Zhao's direction and whispered, my mother didn't hit me. But who believed her? The grumpy person immediately turned his head and dragged a Mother Zhao to warn, this is a child born by yourself. It is too late for others to hurt themselves. You are better, but you hit her in a different way. You are still not a woman. There is no qualification to be a mother. Mother Zhao was pushed and shoved by everyone, and she was furious, look at the bruises on me, and this pinhole, this is what she hit me, it's her. You're a woman who really does everything, don't you feel ashamed of slandering your child in this way? Mother Zhao. She is going to be furious. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 282. My mother really didn't hit me. Yan Ji finally spoke after everyone talked about Mother Zhao for a long time. She walked out of the kitchen to the dining table. I accidentally poured the ribs on the table. My mother taught me a few sentences, don't get me wrong. The little girl's voice was weak and timid, and she did not dare to look up when she spoke. Seeing the little girl like this, everyone really wanted to strip Zhao's mother for life. I don't know who called the Women's Federation and called the police. So the police and the Women's Federation came. Warned Zhao mother inside and out. A few hot-tempered spectators almost rolled up their sleeves and beat Mother Zhao. Mother Zhao. The Women's Federation asked Yan if she wanted to continue living with her Mother Zhao. Yan Ji nodded strongly, my mom is not easy, she would not be able to live without me. Mother Zhao. It was dark when all these people were gone. Yan Zhuo did not mean to go out on his balcony. The mess in the living room was messy. In the kitchen, Yan Zhu washed a bowl. Zhao's mother had previously cooked and wanted to clean up Yan Zhu, so the kitchen was even more messy. Zhao's mother's anger was suppressed and ran up again, until those people had gone, she had not yet reacted from shock and grievance. She was afraid of those people going back, so she sat on the sofa for a long time. It was so long that no one was coming outside, so I walked towards the balcony, small bitch, get up and clean up the house. Although she was very hungry, Zhao's mother was more angry. Yan Ji heard her words very well. She went to the bathroom and found a mop. But instead of mopping the floor, she hit Zhao's mother hard with a mop stick. Zhao mother howled sorely. She wanted to grab a mop and clean up the cheap goods to be uncovered in the house, but she didn't know what was going on. The mop could not be snatched by her, and she could only be beaten passively. The stick hurts too much on her, of course the most painful is the heart. Mother Zhao felt that she was too aggrieved. Never been so wronged. Her hard-earned daughter, she was not treated by her mother-in-law's husband for this daughter, but now, this daughter not only lied, but beat her in turn. The more Zhao wanted to be more wronged, the crying was earth-shattering. But this time, no one ignored her. Yan Zhu felt she had no energy to resist, so she threw the mop and went back to her balcony den. Mother Zhao was tired, hungry, and aggrieved. When she went to the kitchen to find food, she realized that the pork ribs and rice in the kitchen had been thrown into the trash. Angrily, she took the knife and rushed towards the balcony. Anyway, she lives so recklessly, it's better to kill this daughter and kill herself again, so it's a big deal to come again in the next life. At this moment, Zhao's mother really wanted to hack the words to death. So she realized that Yan Zhu was lying on the bed. She didn't hesitate and pause for a moment, and the knife cut directly to Yan Zhu's head. With closed eyes, she opened her eyes suddenly, glanced at the mother Zhao with a sarcasm, raised her hand to grab the back of the knife, and pushed and pulled, and the knife was already in her hand. Yan Ji ignored Zhao's mother's startled eyes. After climbing up, the knife cut into Zhao's shoulder. Zhao mother cried. This time was a heartbreaker. She couldn't stop talking, and hurried to call 120 for first aid. The words were like nothing, and they lay back on the bed. My mother and my elder sister quarreled and quarreled today. My elder sister smashed her mobile phone and cried. I never knew that my elder sister still had such a fierce side. I was really scared to death. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 283. Mother Zhao is not stupid. With the lesson from the previous car, even though she was so badly injured this time, she did not dare to say that she was chopped by her daughter. She knew that others would not believe it, and she also understood that if others asked her why she was chopped by her daughter, she could not answer that she wanted to chop her daughter first. So even if she was full of resentment, even if she hated her teeth, she could only swallow the bitter fruit into her stomach. She didn't cry to others about her daughter. She had been hospitalized for more than 10 days. The wound on her shoulder was too deep, clearly like a deep hatred. The doctor also asked her if she wanted to call the police. Mother Zhao suddenly rejected the kindness of others. She had been in the hospital for so long, and her daughter hadn't come to visit her. Not only did she not come, that is, when she called her neighbor and asked the neighbor to take care of her daughter picked up her phone and remained silent all the time. She did not care about her at all. The neighbors didn't feel that Zhao's mother was injured by Zhao Xiaomei. They all felt that Zhao's mother had been mentally troubled by Zhao's father, that is, she had a tendency to be abused. No one hit her, she simply hit herself. When a few neighbors went to the hospital to see Zhao's mother, they also mentioned it slightly, asking Zhao's mother to drive away and not to get horny. Realizing what the neighbors were saying, Mother Zhao almost lost her breath. But no one believed her words. She thought resentfully, and when she went back, she would give Yanj a pack of rat poison. Zhao's mother wasn't in this period, and Yanj was cooking by herself. She went to school to be resolved by the Women's Federation and smoothly entered junior high school. The area above the junior high school is not far from the community. As soon as Qin Yun stepped into junior high school, the two were still in the same class. In order to take care of her, the teacher specially assigned her to Qin Yun, and the two were at the same table. Go to school together and leave school together. After school, Qin Yun will also explain those lessons for Yanj. This time Qin Yun, she was still seriously ill. Later, she got ill and went to the hospital to visit Yanj several times. Even when Yanj was living in the welfare home, she went to see Yanj twice. When I first saw Yanj, she threw on her and wailed and said sorry, not only returned the grandfather Mao to Yanj, but also gave her all the red envelopes given to her by her elders. Speech song. This silly girl, Yanji comforted her for a while, she didn't say sorry again. Yanj asked her for help, I have dropped a lot of homework. When I am discharged from the hospital, will you help me make up my homework? I will be your friend, only you can help me. Qin Yun nodded again and again, so after Yanj was discharged from the hospital, Qin Yun took charge of the course of Yanj. When Mother Zhao was discharged from the hospital, Grandma Qin couldn't read her songs and went to her Qin's house. Qin Yun simply fell into the Yanj's house after school, and would eat the dishes made by Yanj at night. Qin's parents came to pick her up. Only then did she reluctantly leave. Because I ate at Yanj in the evening, Qin's parents were unhappy, so Grandma Qin was asked to make Yanj's meal at noon the next day. To Qin's parents, Zhao Xiaomei is so pathetic that it can help a little bit. But Grandma Qin didn't like Zhao Xiaomei at all. In her eyes, Zhao's parents were so ruthless. If Zhao Xiaomei was taken in, maybe one day they would lead the wolf into the room, and it would be bad to bring the ruthless Zhao's father, Zhao's mother, to his home. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 284. Yan Song did not let this happen. After Mother Zhao was discharged from the hospital, Yan Ji told Tan Yun not to come to her house again at night. The imbalance in Zhao's mother's heart worsened. She even put rat poison in the food, and sometimes spit the bowl of food for Yanj, but after she was discharged from the hospital, no matter what delicious food she did, smiled how to shout the song did not touch the dishes at home, she ate all the food. Mother Zhao eats and cleans the dishes every day, and has to clean the room. She is staring at this daughter who is getting lazier. Not only is she too lazy to do nothing, she even ignores her mother-in-law. She burned to ashes herself. She tried to sneak attack in the middle of the night, trying to tie up her song. As a result, it was herself who was tied up. She had no time to howl, and her mouth was covered with tape, and then she was choked severely in the middle of the night. Mother Zhao was beaten like this. Where can she continue to endure? She called the Women's Federation and called the police, saying that her daughter retaliated against her and tied her up in the middle of the night. The affairs between the Zhao family were too famous at the police station and the Women's Federation. It wasn't long before Zhao mother made the phone call. Both the Women's Federation and the police came, and a lot of them came. It happens to be the time to go to work in the morning, and there are many people in the community standing at the entrance of the stairs to watch the lively. Mother Zhao shook her head in tears and shouted, "I am really frustrated. I was beaten by my mother-in-law when I was young, and my mother-in-law was beaten by a man. Now that my daughter is older, I have learned to start beating me. I might as well die me." Mother Zhao was seriously injured. Except for the back, where she could see, on her face, arms, hands, and legs, all injuries were caused by a rolling pin or a stool at home. Mother Zhao was crying really miserably, but at the same time Song was sitting motionless in her balcony den, and it was only when the Women's Federation and police called her out that she walked out timidly. The Women's Federation asked her softly, "Did you hurt your mother?" With a look of confusion, Yan Ji looked at the people in the room, rubbing her clothes helplessly with fingers, and finally looked at the police uncle. If I hit, can I go to school? I still have today exam, I want to take the first place." When Mother Zhao saw Yan Ji's weak appearance in front of outsiders, and thought that the daughter had beaten herself in the face last night, she hated gritted teeth. "You debt collector, you think you don't admit it, is that okay? You have your fingerprints on those things, you don't want to run away." As soon as Yanj heard her talking, her head dropped even lower. The police aunt went into the bedroom with Yanj's hand, and asked her gently, "What happened last night? Can you talk to your aunt? Your mother can't hear it now, and you told the aunt won't tell others." Only then did Songa take the courage to look up and looked at the police aunt and whispered, "My mom misses my dad. She said that my dad would be without money when she was home. She and I want a bank card." She was crying and beating herself there. She was very pitiful. Do auntie blame her? My mother is really pitiful. Even if Zhao mother wolf crying and wanting to put this matter on record, the police will be required to protect her personal safety and go to the hospital to check her physical disability. However, no one ignored her. Everyone recorded it and left after a cut. When leaving, the police aunt sent Yanj to the school by the way, and instructed the teacher, so Yanj's examination was not delayed. The whole process was spattering and rolling. Mother Zhao, who wanted to make these people value this matter, was totally aggressive. How dare these people hide their words like this, and how could they be like this? Obviously she was the victim. Obviously she is a victim. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 285. Mother Zhao was lying in bed for a whole week. A week later, she still limped on the ground, and her needle-wounded wounds hurt her heart. She was often beaten by Zhao's father, and one of his front teeth was knocked out by Zhao's father. In terms of her pain resistance was also very good, but this week she still hurt and turned back and forth. She thought she was lying on the bed, how could Yang cook some food for her? However, it was all she thought about. Yan Ji always ate outside before returning home. When he returned home, he also went to the balcony. He had no sense of humming or abusing Zhao in the bedroom. Mother Zhao just happened to try to cover her words with a towel in the middle of the night. She now really hates this daughter. In the darkness, Yan Ji suddenly opened his eyes and stared at the nearby Zhao mother. Do you know why I wouldn't care if I hit you? She squeezed Zhao's mother's hand, and when she rolled up, she pressed Zhao's mother to the ground and covered her nose and nose with a wet towel. Because I'm a minor, this was the first time she spoke to Mother Zhao after returning home. Her voice was cold, making people chilling while listening. I won't even kill you if I kill you. Do you want to die? Don't bother me anymore. She got up, picked up the towel, and then threw it on Zhao's face. Mother Zhao had just thought she was going to die. The suffocation that was close to death made her feel weak afterwards. She panted openly like a nearly dead fish, her eyes staring at the words. Even at this time, her eyes looking at Yang still did not hide her hate. Of course, her eyes were not only hate, but also fear. The daughter didn't even frown when she hit her, and the expression made her really cyanotic. She opened her mouth and coughed a few times, got up and took a few steps back, before staring at the song. I am your mother, I am your mother. Do you know how much I suffered when you gave birth to you? Do you know that I are you ruined in this life? I can't have children for you, I can't even have a son, and no one else. How can you do this to me? How can you do this? When she spoke of her sadness, she cried a snot and a tear. But Zhao Xiaomei heard such words countless times. Yang tilted her head and looked at her so blankly. Until she was tired and cried. Yan Ji said, so what if you gave me up and raised me? It doesn't mean you can hit me freely and scold me. I'm hitting you now, less than 1% of what you hit me. I hit you because you made a mistake. I hit you for your good. Where are the parents who don't hit the children? You are so revenge at your young age. Yang interrupted her and said with a sneer, you can continue to hit me, but I also want to tell you that if you hit me, I will pay you back 10 times. Mother Zhao started to talk again, saying that it was not easy for her to raise Zhao Xiaomei. Yang did not continue to refute her words, but lay on the bed, closed her eyes and began to practice. Mother Zhao cried and went back to her room. She had no choice but to be sung every time she wanted to play. Yang started without mercy, and Zhao's mother was taken to the hospital several times. Even Zhao mother called the police several times. However, regardless of the police or the Women's Federation, she did not believe what Zhao mother said. Instead, she felt that Zhao mother was acting as a demon.